Hello and welcome to the pearl of Italy's magnificent Lago Maggiore, the most beautiful city of Stresa, home of the opening round of the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship Stresa Grand Prix of Italy. My name's Paul Marinelli, and on behalf of the UIM, it's great to welcome powerboat racing fans from all over the world to our live web stream today and all weekend as we await the second practice session of the morning. On the screen, what you can see right now are the beautiful islands, the Borromei Islands, that surround this wonderful city of Stresa, which has a powerboat racing history going back to 1932, believe it or not. One of the birthplaces of powerboat racing, in fact. Absolutely beautiful here in the Great Lakes region of Italy, where we find the opening round, the first of 6 rounds that will see the XCAT World Championship teams and drivers compete in Europe, China and the Middle East for the coveted 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship title. Take a look at the beauty of Lago Maggiore and the city of Stresa, which welcomes us once again for the 3rd time with the XCAT World Championship here. And on the pontoon, we can see now the cranes are lowering Abu Dhabi, one of the Abu Dhabi XCAT boats, into the water. You can see New Star from Russia. We've got teams from all over the world taking part here. We're represented well across the world in the UIM XCAT World Championship this year. 5 teams from right here in Italy, 3 teams from the United Arab Emirates, joined by teams from Sweden, Russia, Australia and Kuwait in our opening round field. Abu Dhabi 5. The boat will be piloted by Rashid Atea and Majid Al-Mansouri, getting lowered into the water right now in the pontoon area, which is set up right at the front of Piazza Guglielmo Marconi here in the city of Stresa. Such a wonderful, wonderful place. I can't begin to tell you how incredibly breathtaking this place is, and the fact that it's had such a history in powerboat racing. So we're looking forward to a great practice session. We had a fantastic practice session this morning, and it was the defending champions, Abu Dhabi 4, Sean Torrente, with Faleh Al-Mansouri, who set the fastest lap time of 2 minutes 26.175 around the 3.32 nautical mile lap here in Lago Maggiore. It is different to last year and the year before, the circuit layout, and we'll go through that with you a little later. Maritimo from Australia. Now this is very, very interesting for the UIM XCAT World Championship. For the first time, a fully Australian designed and made boat. That's boat number Maritimo, 2 minutes 27.842, second fastest yesterday, boat number 12. Now let's cross over to the pontoon and see Emanuele Feresticelle. Who are you talking to?
Back we are. This is Friday afternoon here in Stresa, first Grand Prix of the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship. We are on the pontoon. We had the authorization to come. This is a very busy moment. All the boats are getting into the water. The drivers are getting ready. You can see how busy it is all around us. Almost all of them are in the water. There are just a couple of boats that still have to come down. And this is the very last minutes before the beginning of this practice session. Now we try and walk, we see if we can talk to some drivers. Maybe they will be really concentrated. So anyway, we will show you around all these teams. Here we have on the right side Team Maritimo, boat number 12. As we said, they kind of debuted this year because when they started last year they had a crash in the very first race, so they had to bring back the boat to Australia. That's where they come from the Gold Coast. They had to fix it, so they couldn't continue with the championship. This year a brand new boat built by them in Australia, a Maritimo branded boat. Yeah. And so we'll see that Stonberry Cotter on top, putting on the helmet. Joachim Kumlin is from another boat just helping them, and then Ross Willaton is the second that's getting on the boat. Here is Joachim, okay, you're from the other boat, yeah, because we're talking about this, but what about your boat? Is it ready for this practice?
I hope so. We did some changes after first practice this morning. We had a little bit of a problem with the engines, as we had yesterday when we tried to figure it out, so I think we're getting there, so we will put it down and see what we can do.
You've been already in the cockpit with Alfredo Amato in boat number 22. You did good result. A fantastic victory in Dubai in 2015, if I'm not wrong. So you're confident that you have the good feeling together?
Absolutely, we're confident together, like you said, from back in the days. So hopefully we can get the boat confident with us as well.
Okay, thank you so much and good luck for the session.
No worries.
This was, of course, Joachim Kumlin from Sweden. He's racing with Alfredo Amato from Italy, boat number 22, Consul Brokers. The boat is still has to get in the water. Okay, you will see later because the crane will put it down in the water. Then we go on with our walk. This is one of the officials from the championship. You see he has the green flag. Too, because it's a free practice, but from that moment they will have the chance to checking everything. It's very tough days for the organization, but he's one of the people who make all of this possible. Going on, this morning we were on this very same pontoon. It was much more shaky because there was wind, so the water was, I don't want to say chopped, but there were like waves. Also the ferries that cross the lake all the times. This time we can see it's pretty flat, so it should be a very fast session and not very difficult in terms of waves. That's Alfredo Amato here. We saw his buddy Joachim Kumlin just 1 minute ago. Alfredo, are you ready? We just spoke with Joachim. Are you ready to get in the water?
Yes, now we are ready. We changed a lot of things, and so now I hope change the situation because Stresa is terrible for now. For us, but this time I think the luck arrived.
Okay, thank you, good luck. Your boat is getting on the crane and will arrive. Grazie, Alfredo.
I wait the little girl.
The little girl, that's how Alfredo called his boat number 22 that we will see later. This is still the Marittimo boat, it's been moved on top of the pontoon. On this side, this is one of the two boats from Abu Dhabi, Rashid Al Tayer, Majid Al Mansouri. They are already in the cockpit. You can't see very well because it's very small windows and it seems to be dark inside, but they are there, they're concentrated. You can see they are pushing the boat, they start the engines and they will leave the pontoon. They will be probably among the first to move because they seem to be perfectly ready. In these moments, normally in the cockpit, they are just checking the last things. They have pumps, they have all the digital instrumentation, gauges, and so on. They check that everything is okay. Then they start the engines and they go out. And we go on. Yeah, actually, while I was talking, some boats already went out, so it's not Abu Dhabi 5 to be one of the first. There are already boats over there. We will see them. You will see on the screen very soon. We just finished our walk down the pontoon. Orange boat, number 2, the Swedish guys. That's the team manager, Josephine Dubois, and the two mechanics. The drivers are already in the boat. It's Eric Stark, Sebastian Groth. On this side, he will be the driver at the steering wheel, at the helm. On the left-hand side, on the port side, it will be Eric Stark, the throttleman. On the left, you see Abu Dhabi number 5 going away, going to the race course. I don't know if you can see because it's really misty and grayish today, but there is the Isola Bella in the background. It's beautiful surroundings because with this race course, they will cross between Isola dei Pescatori and Isola Bella. It's one of the most amazing races in the championship because the location is unique. Boat number 46. This is a Spanish flag for this boat, but it's an all-Italian team. It's on the port side, Andrea Comello. He's been racing some years in XCAT. On this side, just underneath the person who was talking with him, the mechanic was talking with him, is Luca Betti. He's debuting in the championship. He comes from rally, car rally, and he's really good, so we will see how he behaves in boats. And we are on top. There's the pace cut ready to intervene in case. So I think for the moment this live from the pontoon is okay. We've seen all the boats are almost there, and so we can go back to the booth where you will see all the images and hear the commentary.
Thank you, Emanuele. Fantastic reporting there live from the pontoon here at Stresa, Lago Maggiore in Italy. The time difference here, GMT +2. We are just starting this 1 hour second practice session of the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship opening round here at Stresa, the Grand Prix of Italy. We're looking now at the Sweet Cat out of Sweden, Sebastian Groth and Eric Stark. Interesting move now with Eric Stark becoming the throttle man this weekend rather than the pilot. And young Sebastian Groth, one of the youngest drivers in the series, very exciting young new talent, will be doing the steering of that boat. So, in mentioning earlier, we did have a practice session this morning and went for just over an hour and a half. It was Abu Dhabi 4 that topped the times, the defending champions, the XCAT defending champions, Sean Torrente and along with him Faleh Al-Mansouri at 2 minutes 26.175, 1.7 seconds clear of the entire field. Maritimo from Australia in that fully Australian designed and built XCAT. So we have a new manufacturer in XCAT racing this season. Maritimo along with the Victory team and one Doug Wright boat left, which is the HPI racing boat, boat 96 of Rosario Schiano di Cola and Giuseppe Schiano di Cola as well, his brother, who's making his debut, I should say, also as the pilot of boat 96, so we welcome him on board. The Blue Roo, the ex-Team Australia boat, 229.120, third quickest. Great effort by them. Pal Verig Nilsson out of Norway and young Trygg Braten, that Norwegian super team, piloting the Team Australia liveried Blue Roo. Third fastest this morning. Dubai Police, the multiple XCAT championship winning superstars of Arif Al Zafain and Nadir Bin Hendi, setting the fourth fastest. And only set the ninth quickest time of 2:35.463. That's Giovanni Carpitella and Darren Nicholson from Australia with him in that Australian-Italian effort, 2:22 offshore. New Star Racing out of Russia were 10th quickest this morning, Videx 11th and Consul Brokers 12th. We have a brand new boat also taking part, the Dimitri machine, Roberto Lopiano. Now, he was meant to be joined by Maurizio Carando, but he's a 2-metre tall driver, and unfortunately the changes they made to the cockpit, they couldn't quite get that done. Tom Barry Cotter in the Maritimo machine, well, his is now piloting and taking on board that machine. So the Dimitri machine of Roberto Lopiano and Andrew Willerton from Australia. So we welcome him aboard as one of our rookies here in the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship as the sun shines on the magnificent Lago Maggiore, and you can see the shots of the crane lowering the Team Australia machine piloted by the Norwegian super team of Pal Verik Nilsson and young Trygg Braten, otherwise known as JT. So great to have you with us. As I mentioned, we do have another practice session coming your way this afternoon. That's at 5:20 Italian time, which is GMT +2, and that's a 30-minute final practice ahead of qualifying tomorrow, which we'll talk about soon because that's got a new format for 2019 as well. Maritimo blasting past the finish line here at Stresa on Lago Maggiore, and Dubai Police on screen now. XCAT boat number 3. The multiple XCAT champions, 2013, 2014, 2015 and 2016 XCAT champions for Arif Al Zafain, who's throttle man this weekend, and Nadir Bin Hendi, who's the pilot. First in the pole position rankings last season, 131 points from 3 pole positions, and earlier this year in their Fajera Challenge Trophy event, a non-championship event held in March, they were second. And there's not much that they haven't won at all. They were the 2018 UIM XCAT World Series runners-up last season and winners of both XCAT Stresa Grand Prix of Italy races last year, and that was 2 of their 4 Grand Prix wins that season. Abu Dhabi 5 on screen now, the Regina Palace Hotel you can see in the background where we're doing a lot of our side event activities, and a number of tourists and locals alike enjoying the hospitality here and the wonderful XCAT carnival setup that we have here in the gardens and parks surrounding the Piazza Guglielmo Marconi, which has become our pit area for this event. So joining me now in commentary, he's come off the pontoon. He did a great job, the UIM XCAT World Championship Media Officer, Emanuele Felix Di Celle, I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it is to be sitting here with you again.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's a pleasure also for me to have you back. It's fantastic to be working together again. I was just the pontoon, as you said, just trying to catch the last impressions before the start. But the drivers are really concentrated. That this is an important session because they have to set up their boats, propellers, the balance, and everything. So we'll see. It's a long session. They will have plenty of laps to take. We'll see what they can do.
Yes, and of course a new qualifying format for tomorrow as well, with the 45 minutes out there all together. Then the top 5 will come out of that group and have their own 20 minutes shootout, if you like, all together though. That's going to be very, very interesting. So it's going to be imperative to make the top 5 if you want pole position.
Absolutely. It will be the last 20 minutes, as you said, just for the top 5 after the first 45 minutes of qualifying. And they will be allowed to have only 2 timed laps. So it will be all or nothing. And that's why it's so important to find the right setup today.
And that's what this long practice session is about. We saw a very long one this morning. A number of teams had some problems. 222 offshore, Giovanni Capitella was telling me that, and Darren Nicholson, that they had a fuel connector problem. So they did a prop change, but then there was a fuel connector issue and then water got in and that was the end of it. So hence why they weren't so impressive in that session, but they're going to make up for it now. And we saw a number of teams making a number of adjustments out there this morning, just trying to find the best way through. But as you mentioned earlier, the conditions have changed quite a bit since this morning. It was a lot choppier.
Yeah, this morning was a lot choppier. Not at the very beginning where we had the fastest times in free practice, but then it started to get more choppy and more wavy because of the wind. The wind was still going on, and so nobody could improve their times. But this afternoon, as you can tell by the images, it's pretty flat. The boats are really flying. As for the minor adjustments that you said, what we see is only when they get into the water, but there are so many small issues to fix all the times. For instance, you mentioned the fuel connection. I remember boat number 3 this morning had a GPS problem, number 96 had a problem with the trim pump. They're always busy working in order to have the perfect boat and get in the water and go fast.
And it's been a long time since March for those teams that did take part in the Challenge Trophy at Fujairah. It's not everybody here that did that. And some teams, like Team Australia, for example, or the Blue Roux team, haven't done anything since China last year. So, you know, a lot of work in this practice session and this morning to try and find a way. Console brokers on your screen right now. This is boat number 46, another one of our rookies, Luca Betti, the 2011 European Rally Championship runner-up driver, has come off 4 wheels and on into an XCAT. So we're delighted to see him here in Stresa this weekend. He tested with the team in Fujairah this year, loved it, and did the deal to race. So great to see Luca Betti on board, and of course his throttlman, Andrea Comello from Venice.
Yeah, absolutely. Luca Betti comes from rally, as you said. It's actually, to my mind, it's the second rally driver. We had Nico Calderola also who came and raced in XCAT. This year he was busy with other sports, but it's funny because maybe they find some parallels between the rally discipline and the...
I would think there'd be disciplines for sure, Emanuele. The rough conditions, the ever-changing conditions of the water. I mean, even though a road, they're so rough, those rally roads and stuff, it'd be pretty similar to the kind of thing that they're used to in a rally car. And yeah, I could personally, although I'm not a driver or anything, I could relate to how that actually transcends over to boat racing at these sort of speeds. A powerboat racing up to 200 kilometers an hour, it gets rough, it gets tough, and you have to, when you commit to a corner, you better be fully committed and you better be accurate, or you're going to flip or you're going to crash. In a rally car, you'll crash.
That's why, yeah, there are a lot of similarities. A big difference is, though, that in the cockpit of rally car, it's 2 people, of course, but one is fully driving, the other one is just doing the navigator, so giving an indication. In this case, the 2 people in the cockpit, one is holding the steering wheel, we call the helmsman. The other one, the accelerator, it's 2 levers for the 2 engines, we call him the throttleman. So in this case, the boat is piloted by both at the same time. So they need the very, very close feeling between the 2.
It's even more trust than in a rally car when you think about it, because the driver's trusting his own ability and to know where he's going. Where in this case, you know, if you don't have total trust in your throttle man or in the throttle man and the pilot, you will end up in trouble.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. We've seen it before, and particularly the Gold Coast. You remember back in 2015,
absolutely,
and 2 rollovers in the one weekend. That was extraordinary. One of the many ferries here in Lago Maggiore. The passengers are getting a special treat today. They get to see the 2019 UIM XCAT World Series out there as they just float by, going to wherever they're going. Abu Dhabi 5 on screen now. This is Rashid Al-Taya, Majed Al-Mansouri, and the team managers. You can see there, that's their area on the pit area, where they can take a look at how the boats are performing and speak by radio.
This is boat number 17, Kuwait, going slowly back to the pits. Yeah, I was just checking if they are very close to the pier, to the pontoon or not, because otherwise would have been a failure. But yeah, we see, yeah, you can see from this image, they're just going back to the pontoon, maybe the change of propellers or some minor adjustments again. It's not a failure at all. While you see Abu Dhabi number 4, it's probably the very last boat to get in the water from the crane.
That's
with, yeah, with Sean Torrente and Faleh Al-Mansouri.
That's a bit of confidence, isn't it, going in last? They were so fast this morning. They actually had a 2-second gap. It's Darren Nicholson on screen now, I think.
Yeah,
but look at
Darren Nicholson from number 10.
From Australia, one of our pride and joys. We're very fortunate to all of our Australians watching on Webstream. We have 3 Australian drivers in the field. We have a heap more of Australians involved in the crews and stuff, and I'm here. So
yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
But no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a proper.
I've got to tell you, for a small country in terms of population like Australia, to have this kind of representation in any major international sporting category is a pretty impressive thing. So it's not just because I'm Australian, okay?
No, yeah, absolutely. And on my side, as working in the championship since 2013, to have the chance to come down to Australia, down under in 2015, we realized how much passion you have. We knew that Australia is a power boat in an offshore country, but the passion that we saw in that event was amazing, really. So it's been, yeah, we have to go back.
Emanuele, if it goes fast, it doesn't matter if it's on the road, on the land, in the air, or on the water, we love it. As long as it goes fast. So it's 222 offshore, currently quickest at the moment, 2 minutes 25.519. If I compare that to the practice pace of Abu Dhabi 4, they're already quicker. Yeah, and as you say, the conditions are so much calmer. They're in fact just under a second faster than Abu Dhabi 4's best time this morning at 226.175. Then we have Abu Dhabi 4, who set the quickest time this morning at 2 minutes 26.154. And third quickest, Maritimo from Australia, Tom Barry-Cotter and Ross Willerton, 226.815. So very impressive for that totally brand new boat. And I can't stress enough, this is done from a piece of paper designed totally by Tom Barry-Cotter and the Maritimo design team at the Gold Coast in Queensland and Australia. And here we are, racing XCATs with a new manufacturer now.
Yeah, absolutely. They got the certification. They are a boat manufacturer, so we have a boat built by Maritimo in the lot. Most of the other ones are built by Victory, except boat number 96, which is a Doug Wright design and build. I was checking that this morning Abu Dhabi 4 did the fastest time. It was 226.175. I'm going, 175. This afternoon, 226.154. So they are 200ths of a second faster. Okay, the conditions were slightly different, but it's curious to see that they are exactly on the same time as this morning.
Very consistent. And, we must say that they also won the UIM XCAT World Championship Table Tennis Grand Prix today. Held at the Regina Palace Hotel. It was extraordinary, and a number of the teams took part. It was a lot of fun. But Sean Torrente, you got to hand it to him. Doesn't he take it seriously? He was loving it. He even tried bribing the umpires. He tried everything, but he had a great time. He was sledging, meaning, you know, trying to put the other players off by saying things to them. And in the end, they performed brilliantly. They did a great job. So maybe it's a bit of an omen of what's going to happen to them this weekend in Stresa. But being the defending champions, I expect nothing more of them to be right up there. Sean Torrente, along with Faleh Al-Mansouri, 2 very, very talented pilots.
Yeah, you can see in this moment right on the screen, this is a change of propellers. The boat gets lifted a bit with the crane just to get the propellers out of the water. Quick change, you see they have electric screws, they put on the new props, just screw it back and tuck back in the water and test. Because of course you don't have a gear shift in a boat. It's just a direct transmission between the engines and the levers in the cockpit. So you just have an inverter for the back. So the screw, the propeller is the only way to change the pace of the boat.
And the choice that the teams would have, like Dubai Police, is either acceleration or top speed, really, isn't it? When you're making a propeller change, you're making a choice between absolute top speed in a straight line or how much acceleration you need, and it all depends on your boat setup, doesn't it? It's so technical.
Exactly, and this kind of course, it's quite fast because it has some long straights. it has a tight turn, and especially it's a right one, while all the other ones are left-hand turns. And so in that case, that turn it must be slow, but with the flat condition and some good straights, you could go for a propeller, let's say a long propeller, which is like having a long gear, like putting your car into 6th gear. You have more top speed and less acceleration, of course, but it's always a balance. We will see.
Yeah. We're watching Giovanni Capitella and Darren Nicholson, who've just come back from Sarasota in the USA, where they won the Class 1 World Championship and did a bit of Bradbury, we call it in Australia, when the other two competitors flipped over. They were the only ones left. And look, full credit to them. You've got to be in it to win it. But we say a Bradbury because Stephen Bradbury in Australia, Manuela, not sure if you're aware, high-speed skater, ice skater. Australia is not the best at ice skating in the world, right? But he raced in a race at the Olympics many years ago where every other competitor fell.
Oh, yeah,
and he
absolutely.
came across from the back and he won. And
I think everybody remembers, yeah.
So
he couldn't believe from the very first stage, and he went to win the final.
So whenever somebody competes in a sport, particularly in Australia, like Darren Nicholson, and you're in something like that where there were only 3 Class 1 boats competing and the first 2 flipped over at the same time or close to it, and you come along and win, we call that taking a Bradbury. But, but congratulations to them on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Besides this aspect, they are very good. Carpitella, we know it's a very good throttleman, one of the best of the lot. And also with Darren Nichols, I've been racing a lot. They're still leading, for instance, they're still leading this session with the best time, 225.519.
Great job by Capitella and Nicholson. Now Abu Dhabi 4, 226.154. They do not improve. Dubai Police spending a lot of time here at the pontoon. They're starting to head off now. Good. So good news there for Arif Al Safan and Nadir bin Handy. We saw them set the water alight at the Gold Coast, didn't we? They were fantastic. But it was actually Capitella and Nicholson who took the pole in the speed cat runs back then. So it was interesting. It was the only time all season that had happened. So let's see what can happen here as well. But we're all very proud of Darren and the job he's doing with Giovanni, and in all the categories in which they're racing. So.
This is Sebastiano Pellecchia, he's the sport director of the championship. He's checking from top of the tower, the course with a long, how do you call it in English?
Binoculars.
Binoculars, yeah, exactly.
Binoculars.
Yeah.
And he's standing right on top of where we are at the moment with this amazing view. And, you know, as much as I love watching these racing boats, I just can't help but look at the view. We have some magnificent islands that you'll see in our footage as well here. The Isole Borromee, as they call them. And some lovely names. We've got Isola Bella, which we go through, the track actually goes through the middle of these islands. Isola Bella, which means beautiful island, and Isola Pescatori, which means fisherman's island.
Yeah.
And we'll see them in a moment, we'll point them out to you, but our course goes right between them. So the fans or people on those islands can enjoy the racing as well as they come blasting by. 800 horsepower, 400 horsepower per engine. Mercury 2.6 litre inline 6-cylinder in each one of these. Overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, fuel injected and supercharged. 400 horsepower per engine, 800 horsepower per XCAT. And in this field, when we start our first of 2 races tomorrow at 5:20 in the afternoon, GMT +2, so that's Italian time, 10,400 horsepower will erupt.
You can
on Lake
it. Wow.
10,400 horsepower. The lake is going to erupt. It's going to be great.
Did you add another 700 from the pace cut?
No, I didn't. So 11,000. 11,100. There you go.
Yeah. You see it in this shot. You can see the background and that's the islands. Okay, you can barely see them, but it's beautiful. We are across. This is the Isola Bella. Yeah, it's a private island from the Borromeo family. Just to give some gossip, you remember maybe John Elkann and his wife Borromeo got married. Lavinia Borromeo got married on that island because it's owned by the Borromeo family. It's a really nice spot.
A lovely little holiday home island thing to have. As we watch 222 offshore. Notice with the livery on this boat, one side's Italian, the other side's got the Australian flag livery as well.
Yeah, because actually that's what I decided. The team is actually half Italian. It's not just because one driver is from Italy and the other one from Australia, but because it's split. So it's a good time, a good thing. The respect on what the side you see, it's one flag or the other. This is Abu Dhabi 4 again. They're still second, but they improved a bit. It was 226.1, it's 225.9, still in second place.
So 0.4 of a second between 222 offshore and Abu Dhabi 4 for first and second. Maritimo 226.658. They've got a little bit more time to find, about 1.4 seconds they need to find at the moment. Dubai Police 4th, Abu Dhabi 5 in 5th, Kuwait up in 6th. Great job by them. Console Brokers in 7th, New Star Racing out of Russia in 8th.
And we still have some boats which have to take time lapse. There's a Swecat you see on the screen. They just went out, so we will see soon what's their first time lap. Then we will have boat number 20, Dimitri, with finally Maurizio Carando, his debut in the XCAT series, and Roberto Lupiano. You will see the livery because it's really flashy green.
Yeah.
And then who else? Team Australia, number 8, has not had any time lap. And so on the others.
And we're watching Kuwait now, boat number 17. Used to be called Rahib, which was the Arab word for awesome, especially when they came down to Oz, I remember that, and when they raced in Dubai too. But same team, same drivers. Boat 17, it's Abdul Latif Al Omani and Mustafa Al Dashti, two of the funniest and nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. They're probably not the best table tennis players I've ever seen, but
No,
but pretty good in their victory team boat there with promoting Kuwait.
You want to know something about Abdulatif Al Omani career, because I remember him since I started working with the championship, but also even before. With this kind of boats, okay, XCAT started in 2012, 2013 as a proper discipline, but this kind of hulls with 2 outboards have been a long time in power boating. He started racing with, let's say, this kind of boats in 1992.
Yeah, his career spanned some 27 years so far.
Yeah, 27 years.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
And he had 7 different boats. Like in the discipline, he changed 7 times the boats, 7 manufacturers actually.
Yep. And was still successful with all those changes. So just shows the talent. 7th in the championship last season, and an impressive 4th in the Fajero Challenge Trophy event held in March earlier this year, which was not part of the championship. It was just a standalone event, a bit of a warm up for the season that's starting now. Maritimo, the Australian designed and built XCAT, first one ever from Australia to have achieved this. Designed and built in Queensland by the Maritimo Luxury Motor Yacht Company, Tom Barry Cotter's family company, obviously, and Ross Willerton on board with him. And no matter how old Ross gets, he still gets faster and faster, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was just seeing by the images. It's the first time that I see properly running on the water. It seems the hull of the boat, the deck, it's very, very low. You can see the cockpit it seems to be taller than the other boats, but the headroom is the same inside the cockpit. So it's because it's very sleek and very low in terms of the hull, the deck itself. And there's another difference. It's allowed by the rules, but they're the only ones who have that. They have the flap in the back between the 2 engines, which can be tilted hydraulically to change the aerodynamical balance of the boat. The other ones didn't go for that. The rules allow it. We will see if it's successful and if the other ones will copy them.
There's no doubt that they're taking a number of design steps with that boat that are really representing the next steps now to see if they work. And I'd just say so far it's not too bad. 3rd quickest, 226.658, so they've moved up. So 222 offshore still at 225.519. Quickest time of practice ahead of Abu Dhabi 4's 225.957. Maritimo's 226.658. 31 minutes left to go. One more practice session after this. Coming your way at 5:20 p.m. GMT +2 Italian time.
There's nice images from Dubai number 3. You could tell even if it's quite flat, they were jumping a bit because there's the very same waves that they create disturb each other. There's no ferries at the time because we were able to stop the circulation of the ferry boats along the lake, along this part of the lake. So the waves you see is the ones that they create themselves. They disturb each other and not on purpose, of course. These boats, as I always say, are much more about aerodynamics than hydrodynamics because they are flying on water. So it's enough to have like 10 centimeters of wave and they will jump.
And we've seen at so many events where they get airborne, and I'm sure we'll see it here because in the earlier practice session you could see some of that. The Team Australia boat now. Big hello to Brett Lerman and Laurie Lerman back home in Australia. Big supporters of XCAT involved for many years.
Yeah,
Laurie, the first ever female team manager.
Exactly.
We know you're there watching. We're thinking of you, and there's Team Australia.
Yeah, ciao Laurie. Big hug.
Yeah,
both of you.
Big hug, big kiss to all of you, especially to Brett. but no, just saying that it's a Norwegian super team and the Team Australia boat, and all the crew's Norwegian as well. So interesting. But Paul Verk Nielsen, as he likes to be called, and Jacques Trygve Braten, or JT, which is much easier to pronounce, on board. That's looking good, that boat at the moment. It's looking very nice out there.
It's looking good, and it's also good looking, because in my opinion that boat is the best looking boat. The colors, it's also the longest one of the lot, so it's slicker in the images. I really like it. In terms of image, I don't support for anybody in particular, but of course, yeah.
Look, it's got Australia on the side, so you just won yourself
you're allowed.
about 23 million fans in Australia, mate. So well done. But interesting too, what you noted about how the boat sits in the water. As we look at Team Australia once again, there is a big difference between fresh water and salt water. Salt water is more buoyant, and as a result will lift the boat up more. And Tom Barry-Cotter was actually making this point to me, talking about it, that you will notice our boat will sit lower because, okay, the way we've designed it, but also because of it being fresh water,
absolutely
more dense.
In that we change also their behavior, because they will act differently on the trims. The trims, for people who don't know, are the control of the inclination of the engines toward the straight line. In this case, yeah, you see they're changing. Which what is it? 46.
Great shot.
Yeah,
46.
It's great shot from behind.
Console Brokers XCAT getting the propeller change, but awesome shot from underneath. Just gives you just a look at how sleek this twin hull design is, how strong it is too, to withstand the speeds that they're achieving with their 400 horsepower each Mercury Race offshore engines, which are exclusive to the XCAT World Championship, brought to you by UIM. So there's our team managers all looking on. Dubai Police on screen now. Can Arifah Safain and Nadir Ben Handy beat the time? They're currently fourth quickest, 2:27.625.
This morning I was talking to them. They are among the most experts. They won like 15 world titles altogether. They won 5 world titles in XCAT. Always the two of them, or almost always the two of them. There was also Mohamed Al Mari. And what I was asking, I was curious, because all these boats have the helmsman position on the right side, on the starboard side of the cockpit. But this race course, it's turning anti-clockwise.
Yes.
This means that most of the turns, as we said, except one, they are on the left. So the driver sits on the outer part of the turn, and he can't control the distance from the boat to the buoy. And for them it's a bit disturbing. Normally the circuits turn clockwise, so they are sitting very close to the buoys while they turn. In this case, they, although being the most experts in the lot, I could say, they say that it's a bit disturbing, but it's a factor that levels up. It's the same for everybody.
It's a new challenge for everyone to deal with.
Yeah.
Dimitri on screen now, the Lucky 20 team, again out of Italy. We have another Australian on board, Andrew Willetton, a rookie, making his debut, drafted in at the last minute because of a height issue for one of their drivers. A bit of an issue there. Hopefully they'll resolve that.
Maurizio Carando, he's over 2 meters tall.
He is huge. Stood next to him yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. He's huge. He's fit, strong, but just very, very big for any kind of race driver. So hopefully they get him in there. But Andrew can't believe it. He was saying to me from 2 days ago, as much as I hope he gets the race, I really hope he doesn't.
Yeah, of course that would have been the perfect chance for him.
Yeah.
But the point is that Maurizio, it's very tall. We have so much attention to the safety. There was a problem with the headroom above his head between the helmet and the lid of the cockpit. And so they had to modify the seat, which is not just modify the seat as you want. They had to make a new seat, which was homologated in carbon fiber, bolted in the proper way to the bottom of the boat. And then our engineers, Sergio Abram in particular, were checking all the safety rules, had to check that everything was compliant. In the end, they made it. I'm saying by millimeters, but they made it.
Very good. So Giuseppe Schiano di Colla and his throttlman Rosario Schiano di Colla on board their HBI racing team from here in Italy. Boat number 96. They're the Mercury racing distributors for the entire country of Italy, and Mercury outboard distributors for leisure craft for South Italy, with McDonald's sponsorship on board as well.
Yeah.
So great to see Macca's on board as well. But great guys, young guys, and it's Giuseppe taking the place of his father Antonio, who used to drive with Rosario. Is that the case?
Giuseppe used to drive with Antonio. They won a powerboat championship with monohulls some years ago because Rosario was too young. He was minor age. In this case, they are racing together for the first time, except the one-off Fujairah race.
And they were sixth in that, which is great.
Yeah, it's good, yeah. And Rosario is the younger, but he's a throttle because he has That's what they say. He has the best feeling with the engines because he's been working in the family company all the times with the engines. So he knows these engines perfectly, the Mercury Racing, the 350 before and now the 400. And so he feels confident in that role, and Giuseppe feels confident in the role of helmsman. So that's good. You can tell by the images this is the only Doug Wright boat. Is a little different. The windshields are smaller in front, and there's a different shape of the deck if you see the profile. But still, this is a very fast boat, very well balanced. They tell me.
And interesting to note that the Rosario has actually started his career in motocross and motorbikes. And his family's passion for powerboat racing was, come on, get off that. Time for you to get on board with us. And here he is. And their father, Antonio, a big champion, started racing in '97 at the Venice to Monte Carlo powerboat race. Gained a silver award in that year's Italian Endurance Championship. Third in the 1999 Napoli to Monte Carlo race. Third in the 2010 European and Italian V1 Championship. And third in the Cento Miglia of Lake Como as well. And the 2015 Class V1 World Champion. So lots of experience there for Antonio, who is now the team manager.
I'm just seeing, with my very eyes, it's not in the images yet, but they are waving a yellow flag on the finish line. This means all the boats finish their lap and go back to the pontoon. We try to understand now in the images we don't have yet.
I can't see anything dramatic. And great.
No, exactly. Me neither. It doesn't seem to be any big issue, but still I see a yellow flag waving continuously on the checkered buoy of the finish line.
Well, it's interesting because it is a long lap, isn't it? 3.32 nautical miles is the race lap. The long laps that they'll have to do during the race are a little bit longer than that. They're 3.85 nautical miles.
Anyway, we will keep you posted. Apparently nothing is happening beside this the flag waving. At the pits, the activity is the same. They are changing propellers, getting in and out. There's still some boats on the race course going fast, so we'll see. We'll see. If we get any communication also from the race direction, we will tell you straight away. But apparently everything is normal. Okay, yeah, we see this nice shot, XCAT Racing in the cockpit. Maybe we mentioned already, but it's the youngest driver of the lot. Sebastian Grotta, he's just turned 22, while the second youngest is the Rosario Schiano we mentioned before, is only 25. And then to follow, this is boat number 17, Kuwait. It is. Oh, I always love this front shot.
Whoa, airborne!
Wow, you see,
the first airborne shot of the weekend.
Yeah, it's nice when you can see the propellers out of the water and not because of the crane. Yeah.
And then, of course, the throttle man has to pull back once that happens, doesn't he? Because otherwise you'll over-rev the engines because the drag of the water suddenly reduces, the revs go right up. And
we will show you if we have if we have some shots from the cockpit. We will show you the images because the throttle man, it's always moving his hand forward and back because anytime the propellers get out of the water just a little bit, he had to release the gas, otherwise they will over-rev the engines, which is create damages, of course, overheats the engine.
Our Bergamo Scuba Angels on board the rescue boat there with the yellow flag, but they're not going anywhere. They're certainly just on that start-finish line with a held stationary yellow flag at this point. Lots of action in the pit area. The sun is shining. It is magnificent here in Stresa. Now, just to let you know, so you can keep track of the times to get back on board for our live web streaming, 5:20 p.m. local time here in Italy, so GMT +2 for the third practice session, 30 minutes for that. Now, tomorrow morning, 11:20 Italian time, GMT +2 to 12:45, the XCAT pole position qualifying. There'll be a 10-minute break and then a 20-minute final run between the top 5 to determine pole position. 5:20 p.m. Italian time tomorrow, UIM XCAT World Championship Stresa Grand Prix of Italy, race 1, first race of the season coming your way at 5:20 p.m. Italian time. Then on Sunday, final practice at 12:10 Italian time, GMT +2, 5:20 p.m. the second race to decide the UIM XCAT World Championship Stresa Grand Prix of Italy, and then the podium ceremony after that. So we look forward to having you on board at all those times. If you need any further information, go to xcatracing.com or go to our Facebook page.
No, it's actually x-cat.racing.
Or just Google XCAT Racing and you'll get there.
Yeah, because we changed. We've seen the images of the red rib. They were still waving the yellow flag. What I'm thinking, I can't get in touch now with the race direction because they're busy controlling everything. As the boats are still running, everything is regular, but they're still waving this flag. Probably somebody hit a buoy And so they are just signaling to the drivers that there's one missing buoy as compared to the race course that they have in mind and that they studied. So that's the only reason.
And usually we'd get a message on our screen, but we have nothing at the moment. So 19 minutes and 35 seconds to go. In fact, we're showing a green flag.
Yeah, on the screen is still the status of the track now is green because we have on the screen.
So they'll be
but waving just a warning. Maybe in that part of the circuit there's just a missing buoy because somebody hit. They will replace, of course, as soon as the session is over, but they have to be warned.
Great shot from the pontoon here and the beautiful mountains and islands around Stresa here, Lago Maggiore. The pearl of Lago Maggiore is the city of Stresa. And it's been so wonderful to us and such great supporters of powerboat racing. As I mentioned at the start of our web stream, 1932 they started powerboat racing here and they've loved it ever since. And there's actually historical images of it in the city and some amazing things to see, just how much, this whole Great Lakes region of Italy, how much powerboat racing has been a big part of people's lives here.
Between this and Lake Como, you can see this area is the cradle of powerboating, absolutely, in the world, not only in Italy. Yeah.
Still waving the yellow flag. So at the start-finish line, so we'll work out what's going on. So just if you've just joined us, good morning or good afternoon to you, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. This is the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship opening round, second practice session from Stresa in Italy. 2 minutes 25.519 for 222 offshore. Giovanni Capitella and Darren Nicholson in boat 10 lead the practice times ahead of Abu Dhabi 4, our defending XCAT champions, Sean Torrente for the US, who's also leading the Formula One Championship this year in powerboating and won it last year as well, along with other titles as well. The endurance title also this year. Boy, he's had a great old time, Sean Torrente, and won the table tennis, as we mentioned earlier today. 2 minutes 25.957 for Sean Torrente and Faleh Al Mansouri. Then we have Dubai Maritimo from Australia, Tom Barry-Cotter and Ross Willardon, fourth quickest, 226.658. Then it's Dubai Police, 227.625 of Arif Al Savain and Nadir Bin Handy, two of the most legendary powerboat racers of this generation, without any doubt at all. Blue Roo from Australia, or no, the drivers from Norway, the Team Australia boat, 228.645. That's Paul Virik Nielsen and Jungtrig Barton, JT, behind the wheel there. 6th Abu Dhabi 5, 7th Sweecat Racing. HBI Racing Team in 8th, not bad for a pair of virtual rookies when you think about it. Kuwait in 9th, Consul Brokers 10th, New Star Racing in 11th, and rounding them off, Videx, Alfredo Amato at 12th, 2 minutes 37.442, and Joachim Kumlin, of course, he's pilot for this weekend.
Yeah, this is Nadir Benindi. He just stepped out of his boat, and yeah, they're still very busy, so they're just making adjustments, changing something. You see boat number 22 on the crane for another change of propellers. Most of I was checking that we still have no time for boat number 20. They actually went out. It's the one you see on the pontoon on the left, the lids are green. It's a beautiful metallic but matte green. I like it very much.
Matte fluoro, and it really does stand out. Yeah, very
But
nice.
still, they are the 13 boat missing. They don't have any time lap at the moment. Yeah. We will see. We'll see. Oh yes. Actually, yeah, it was over 2 minutes 30. It's over 3 minutes, so that's why we couldn't see it. Yeah, but it means that they just went out for a test. It's not a proper lap.
And they did miss out this morning on running due to that issue we're talking about with fitting the co-driver in there. So this is their first run. If anything's going to go wrong, better to get it sorted out now ahead of qualifying. Well, our third practice session later this afternoon and qualifying tomorrow. That's going to be busy, qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other point we should make out, that because it is different, the top 5 go in their own 20-minute shootout, if you like, for pole, but only 4 of them can start in the first gate.
Exactly.
So if you're last in that shootout and you end up 5th, well, you start from the second gate. So it is imperative to get into the top 4, in fact.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Top 5 will give you a shot at it,
yeah.
but you've got to try and get into the top 4 from there. So very, very high pressure with only 2 timed laps per XCAT.
Exactly. Then tomorrow we will explain you in detail the starting procedure. Anyway, as usual, there's 3 buoys. The top 4 will go into the first buoy, which is
Finish line adjacent to our paddock area here. Turn 1's a hard left, followed by another tight left turn at the B&B1 buoy. Then it's a hard on the acceleration up to turn 3, C&C1. which is a hard right turn where you're looking for a smooth exit for the long and straight run up to turn 4, which is at boys D and D1. Then it's another left turn, hard on the power down to turn 5 at boys E and E1, where the XCATs complete a long and fast run between the two islands we mentioned earlier, to a slight left turn at corner 6, F and F1, leading into the 7th and final left turn of the lap, F2 and F3, before a fast drag race along the final straight to the finish line and the completion of the 3.32 nautical mile race lap. Now, the long laps are different again, where from the turn 1 they will head out towards the buoy, right out to the right hand side of the lake here, make another left turn and then rejoin at buoy C at turn 3 of the course, and 2 long laps will have to be completed during the races. We'll explain that to you then. And just to remind you that we are racing at 5:20 p.m. Italian time, that's GMT plus 2, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. 5:20 p.m. for each of those races for the UIM XCAT World Championship Stresa Grand Prix of Italy, races 1 and 2, the opening races of the opening round of the 6th round 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship that goes to Europe, China, the Middle East. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We enjoy having you on board for this all season. It's going to be great. We've got a great lineup of teams here, and I get a little whisper we're going to have some more by the time the series hits China.
Yeah, we can't say anything so far, but maybe we will have a nice surprise in China. Yeah. Of course, the championship is always growing. It's fantastic. We already have so many teams. We have drivers from 4 different continents in the world. And we're racing in 3 different continents, so it's beautiful. And there's so much interest that we always have like teams that are trying to get in, and we hope so.
Well, you know, the
we'll
more the merrier, but it's all about quality. And if you look at the standard of preparation of this entire field, and I remember in the Gold Coast how blown away I was back in 2015. But to see it now, the number of competitors here, how they've presented everything, how professional it all is, and how eager they are to win and to do well. You know, there's no lack of competition in this field, I can tell you. At the moment, they're all nice and separated and doing their own thing and having a feel of the lake, but that's not going to be the way it'll be for the whole weekend. There's no doubt about it.
Meanwhile, we are looking at number 8, this front shot, Team Australia. They had their left turn. It was really, you could see how shaky it was. They are drifting a bit and then always controlling. When they are turning, they have to, of course, release the throttle, change the trims and turn. The person who was holding the wheel normally just turns. The other one is controlling both the engines and the trims. And it's a matter of always a balance between losing speed or like having a shorter path in the course.
So it's Paul Verig-Nielsen on the throttles there, and Jean Trig Bratton, JT. Yeah, I'm going to have to link to that. On the throttles there, the throttleman on the Team Australia car, the Blue Roo as it's entered for this round.
Yeah.
So through the islands they go. That gives you a good view of what it looks like as they go past Isola Bella and Isola Pescatori.
Well, this is Abu Dhabi 4, still in second spot, 4 tenths of a second slower than the first one, which is still 222 offshore, 225.5 and 225.9 for Abu Dhabi 4.
I was thinking there might have been a change then, because that looked really quick, but no.
Yeah, they didn't quite improve, yeah.
Looking at number 4, last lap 226, actually quite a bit slower.
Not even a second slower. Yeah, they were going fast, but they can't improve, yeah. Then still Maritimo, it's amazing, as you said, it's a brand new boat. They just tested solid, and there were, let's say, rumors. Maybe they were complaining on paper that their boat was a bit too heavy, but it seems to be really well balanced because they are third just after 2 laps. Well, and then, Dubai Police, Blue Roo and Abu Dhabi going on.
And this has implications for not only Maritimo, but another Australian export industry, because other teams, if they like this boat, will ask them and buy a boat. And of course, that's part of their plan too.
They are a boat builder.
To sell it to other competitors. And so we'll see what happens as the rib heads out fast, because we do have an XCAT that is stopped.
There's Videx number 22 on the right side of the course that has stopped. We've seen the rib of the rescue going immediately there.
Yep.
They seem to be fine. It's probably an electrical failure because they just stepped down. We can see with our eyes, even if you don't see in the images. But we've seen the 2 drivers stepping down on the deck of the boat. The rib is already there, like in a matter of, let's say, not more than 15 seconds, they were already there in case,
so I just saw the boat turn a little, and then the rib was just flying out for it, so obviously got a radio message. But Alfredo Amato and Joachim Kumlin
Yeah.
not having a good day at the moment. Let's hope we can rectify that. It's not a lot of time though. 9 minutes and 5 seconds to go with 222 offshore. Giovanni Capitello and Darren Nicholson making up for this morning where they really struggled with all sorts of problems.
You see now in the images, pardon me, because finally, yeah, you see Alfredo Amato sitting on the top of the deck, on the foredeck is Joaquin Kumlin getting the line, let's say the towing line, and Alfredo Amato, a bit desperate, sitting on the cockpit. We will tell you as soon as we know what kind of failure it is. Normally, yeah, it's a hydraulical or electrical failure or some issues with one of the engines. It's not a crash. It doesn't look at all like a crash. We will see if they can go on. Because as you said, we still have 8 minutes in this session, but it's just a 20-minute break because of the ferry boats. We are on the lake. We stop the ferry boats, but we have to allow them because there are a lot of tourists in this time of the year. But then again, after 20 minutes, you stay tuned, you will see images. I will try and go also to take some interviews straight away.
We'll talk you through.
Yeah, and then we will have another 30 minutes at the finish of the session. So they will have 20 minutes to fix the issues and then another 30 thrilling minutes.
We were looking at Josephine Dubois, the only female team manager in the field for SWECAT. She works for SWECAT. 21 years of age too, so the youngest ever team manager and the only female in the field, but not the first female. Laurie Lerman from Australia was
exactly
the first female team manager.
Josephine, you can see on the bottom.
There she is.
It's now in this image.
And
she's small and she's young, but she's so tough. She's yeah, you were saying that.
She gets right into it, but she also races with Sebastian Groth, who's also her partner. So they're not only are they life partners, they also race together in a number of Swedish and international offshore events. And the most recent being last week in Norway at the offshore 3C class event, which they said was a total disaster. But other than that, it was all good. But no, good on her, Josephine. She does a great job. I've been very impressed with how she operates this weekend and not afraid to get wet or dirty.
Absolutely. Get
right into it. And SWECAT, one of the most beautiful XCATs out there. And of course, they represent the country of Sweden, and the entire team are members of the Swedish Royal Yacht Club Racing Department. They've been XCAT competitors for the last 6 seasons. So, been around for a while now, the XCAT, but one of the older boats now in the field.
Yeah, as a construction-wise, it's one of the oldest. But they can modify. Sometimes they have modifications in the length, in the tunnel width. So yeah, they're still very good hulls. I mean, Victory built.
And the guy piloting this started racing at 13 and won several Swedish titles before he even became an adult. And yeah, 22, as you mentioned earlier. Started in XCATs at 19, youngest ever, and still is the youngest. 12th in the championship last season.
And it's good also because Eric Stark is not only his partner of Sebastian Groth in this championship, but he's also his coach when they are back in Sweden. They train a lot. They have a similar boat to this. And they go always training and training and training because Eric Stark is like already a veteran of the category, and so he's it must be a good feeling between the two.
Paul Verik Nielsen and Joachim Kunlund are 3 of the fittest guys I've ever seen, and that's in all the motor racing disciplines and other things. Yeah, they are just extremely fit. Their commitment, like Paul, every single day trains. It is just insane. But those 3 guys, and not saying that the other guys aren't fit or strong, but compared to everyone else, they are just 15 steps ahead in terms of
I can tell you this, when we were in China last year or even 2 years ago, out of the hotel, all of a sudden I saw Paul Verik Nielsen. He goes country skiing, is that how you call in English? Cross country skiing, in Norway because there's a lot of snow. In China you don't have snow. He took all the way from Norway on the flight to China his cross-country skis with wheels, and he went out training on the streets, traiing cross-country skiing.
In Shanghai? Or?
No, it wasn't in Shanghai,
okay.
Luckily.
I don't know where you find snow, wherever he was, but good on him. Yeah, skis with wheels. That's commitment for you. And we're just having 222 offshore getting taken right over our heads here, and the commentary position here at the pontoon. A beautiful afternoon here in Stresa in Italy. We have 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go. There is not much lake action at the moment, but that time is still not beaten. 225.519. Conditions have remained the same throughout, which is interesting. But Abu Dhabi 4, 225.957 did have a go at beating that time. Let's take a look now. New Star goes through the start-finish line now. The team out of Russia.
What I would like to understand now is that some of the boats are being lifted and taken back to their trailers. So maybe they will take advantage of this 20 minutes of break to fix something in the paddocks and then get back in the water. We will see if some of them stay in the water just to be ready in 20 minutes.
I would have thought that's the smart thing to do. There's so little time left. If you're in that top 5-6 group, it makes sense to make the most of the time you've got available, because 20 minutes is a very short break.
Yeah, and the crane, it's just 2 cranes. It's not like, this is Alfredo. Is really
Not looking too happy, is he?
Yeah. So you know why? Just because I see Alfredo and all the others there, I will take advantage of this break to go and try and get some interviews.
All right.
If we can find the pilots available, if they're not like angry as Alfredo is now, we can show you live. Otherwise, anyway, stay tuned. We will talk you through, as Paul was saying. And I'll be back in a while.
Thank you, Emanuele Felicicelle, the UIM XCAT World Championship Media Officer, joining us here in commentary here for our English language commentary of the 2019 UIM XCAT World Championship Grand Prix of Stresa, Grand Prix of Italy here at Stresa, as we watch New Star Racing, Mikhail Kitashev and Dmitry Vandyshev on board there. Throttleman Dmitry, pilot Mikhail. They made their debut in XCATs during the second half of the 2016 season, in fact. And Dmitry is a world champion across several endurance racing categories. And the New Star Racing team have won many world championships in endurance racing with ribs, boats and catamarans as well. And they finished just 2 points behind Team Kuwait in last year's championship to take 8th overall. And they were third, a very impressive third, in the Fajero Challenge Trophy event, which was held in March, the non-championship XCAT race. They were 8th in their pole position rankings last season as well. So New Star Racing, great looking boat, great looking livery, boat number 9. Keep your eyes out on that one. Let's see what Mikhail and Dmitry can do here in Stresa. So views of the pontoon now, Maritimo docked there, Team Australia as well. The HPI racing team, you can see Rosario and Giuseppe sitting there on the top of the cockpit there of the XCAT. And our ferries now can finally make their way across Lago Maggiore. So people have been waiting a while for this practice session, but what a view they got, the XCATs in action, and they'll be making their way across to their various ports. So 20 minutes is allowed for the lake to be opened once again, if you like, and then we'll be back for another 30-minute practice session coming away at 5:20 p.m. Italian time, which is 2 hours added to Greenwich Mean Time. So some people sitting in the pontoon area there. It's a wonderful entertainment area set up. If you're watching us here in Italy, make your way to Stresa. It's going to be a big weekend. They've got DJs playing there, there's live music. Fantastic place to visit any time of the year, but particularly good for the opening round of the XCAT World Championship for 2019. SWECAT goes through the start-finish line there. And just checking their lap time now. 231.691, not beaten, still sitting at 7th. So 222 offshore. 225.519. Abu Dhabi 4, second. Third, Maritimo out of Australia, boat number 12, 226.658. And Dubai Police, the Blue Roo, in 5th. Abu Dhabi 5 in 6th. SWECAT Racing in 7th, as I mentioned earlier. New Star Racing well in the top 10 there at 8th, 2 minutes 32.328. HPI Racing out of Italy in 9th. Another one of our 5 home teams, 232.6. In 10th, boat 17, Kuwait, 232.738. Consul Brokers, boat number 46, 234.222. And Videx in 12th at 237.442. And Dimitri, boat number 20, in 13th, with Australian Andrew Willerton on board. And that's 3 minutes 12.493, so a lot of time for them to find. Again, they missed the morning session completely, as I mentioned earlier. And our web stream will recommence for you in 20 minutes. So we look forward to catching up with you then, right here, for that's the third and final practice session for the day, 30-minute XCAT practice.